For decades, the chant "Death to America" has echoed through Iran's streets, schools, and airwaves. Behind the slogan lies a deep story of fear, indoctrination, and a strategy for global domination. Well, now a new chant is emerging that's threatening the regime in Tehran. George Thomas has more.
It's one of the most jarring things you can hear in modern politics. Death to America. It's not just a chant. For Iran's regime, it's a mission statement. For the past 46 years, Islamic leaders here have treated this slogan like gospel, something shouted in schools, broadcast on state TV, and repeated at rallies. Day in, day out. Each morning, young students line up in rows. Then, instead of a pledge or song, they chant, "Death to America, death to Israel." Lana Silk remembers those mornings all too well.
As a school child myself, George, I was made to line up in the schoolyard before the school day every day, and we were watched and observed as we had to shout, "Death to America, death to Israel," before the school day would begin. It was indoctrination.
She grew up in Tehran. Even as a young student, Silk says it didn't sit right. When you were chanting this, did you know what you were saying? Did you believe it? Did you understand it?
Yeah, I understood it fully, and it created such horrible tension in me. I remember we were lined up like soldiers in an army, you could almost say. And I remember trying to position myself so that I could be hidden behind another girl so that they couldn't see if my lips were moving. Even then, as a 5, 6, 7-year-old girl, I knew it to be wrong, and it upset me.
That chant was born during a revolution. In 1979, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini returned from exile and took power. He didn't want to just change Iran, he wanted to spark a global Islamic movement. He once said, "We do not worship Iran, we worship Allah. Let this land burn, let it go up in smoke, as long as Islam wins in the end." So to him, he didn't mind if his whole country went up in flames as long as Islam thrived and was exported all around the world.
That's exactly right. That was his theology, that patriotism, love of country, is paganism. You're supposed to love God, love Allah. That he saw as in conflict. You couldn't do both. Cliff May leads the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He says this wasn't just rhetoric, it was a strategy with death to America at the center. What Khomeini wanted was to restore Islamic supremacy and power in the world, and that could only be done if America was defeated or at least diminished. And that's really the basis for Death to America. On February 1st, 1979, while flying from Paris to Tehran, ABC's Peter Jennings asked Khomeini how he felt about returning home after 14 years in exile. That word, hiche, means nothing in Persian.
It's another famous quote. I think his whole persona was supposed to be this untouchable, unreachable, beyond, basic human emotion, religious purity. And that was all part of the act, wasn't it? That yes, I don't get carried by waves of emotion. I have a bigger agenda here.
Fast forward 40 plus years, and the chant still hasn't gone away. Just 2 years ago, Iran's current supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, said this.
این مسئله آمریکا و ایران اینی که شما میگید مرگ بر آمریکا این یه شعار نیست صرفاً.
Iran's leaders still call the US the Great Satan, Israel, Little Satan. But lately on Iran's streets, the people are chanting something very different. The 2022 protests after Mahsa Amini's death, a 22-year-old arrested for not allegedly wearing her hijab properly, sparked something huge. The chants weren't against America, they were against Iran's own leaders. Iranian-born Mike Ansari is with Heart for Iran.
The younger Iranians, especially those that are active in recent protests, the Women Life Freedom ones, the chant feels false. They're replacing the slogan with death to the dictator or our enemy is right here in our country.
After the latest strikes by Israel and the US, Iranians are quietly wondering, could this be it? Could this finally lead to real change? Many believe the regime is weaker now than it's ever been in its 46-year rule, more isolated, more distrusted, and more out of step with its own people.
And now what the people associate with these chants and this kind of rule is suffering. There's no fooling them anymore. There was a time when they bought into it as a religious endeavor, a high standard, but the fruit of it has been so painful that they are against it now.
George Thomas, CBN News.
Well, I hope for a change in the government of Iran, but unfortunately, I've gotten some reports from people within the country that the crackdown after this 12-day war has been massive, and crackdown against Christians, crackdown against any protest and any leader of a protest movement. They are very definitely trying to maintain themselves in power. Over the decades, I've wondered, has our own government tried to deceive us about the threat from Iran and tried to hide exactly what their ideology is calling for? And it just seems strange that you would negotiate with that you would try to come to some kind of agreement with them on nuclear weapons, or some kind of agreement that they would no longer fund terrorism around the world. They are the largest state sponsor of terror. And when you look at the Houthis, their flag says death to America, death to Israel, death to the Jews. Hezbollah, the entire motivation of them is to wipe Israel off the map. These aren't idle slogans. These aren't things that they're just, playing games. They really mean it. And when the Ayatollah says it's okay if Iran burns to the ground as long as Islam wins, please take that to heart. As he's going into hiding, okay, the Israeli jets have control over the skies of Iran. So as he's going into hiding, the Ayatollah quotes back to Khyber, a tremendous victory in the early days of Islam, 1,500 Islamic warriors defeating a Jewish community of 10,000. He firmly believes in that. He firmly believes, even though it seems like they're defeated and they're outnumbered and they're overwhelmed, they're going to come back to victory. And right now, they're plotting just to do that. I worry that we didn't take it far enough. And until we see a change in government where it's no longer a theocracy, no longer bent on Islamic domination of the world, we're not going to see peace in the region. Also keep in mind, this ideology is infectious, and President Erdogan of Turkey just this past week announced that he wanted to see Islam go from the China Sea all the way to the Mediterranean, and he's calling for alliances between the Turks, the Kurds, and the Arabs in order to accomplish that goal. He's looking at a caliphate. He's looking at the restoration of the Ottoman Empire plus. And so you look at these declarations and what they're saying publicly in their own language, please be aware of it, because it is absolutely a threat to world peace, absolutely a threat to Israel. But most importantly, when they say death to America, they mean it, and they're trying to take us out.